All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Got things started off in week 11 on the right foot. I took the Philadelphia Eagles last night over the Washington Commanders at home, and now Philadelphia is in firm control of the NFC East as they look to make another run towards getting the Super Bowl. But with that said, we got some good games, some real good games on tap for Sunday as well as the Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 11 in this NFL season. Got a big time showdown in the NFC North, and you got the 6-3 Green Bay Packers traveling to Soldier Field to take on the 4-5 Chicago Bears. And for Chicago, they're looking to get back on track. We know about their offensive woes. Honestly, this team has not been the same ever since that Hail Mary against the Washington Commanders. If you're the Green Bay Packers, you want to try to keep up with the Joneses in the NFC North. And of course, that's Detroit and Minnesota. And, it's one of those where a couple of weeks ago, it looked like, maybe all four teams from the NFC North could get to the postseason. Doesn't look the same now. We know that the Bears have their woes. They fired their offensive coordinator. But nonetheless, I think the Bears offense will play better. I think the Bears team will play a little bit better. But I just don't think it's enough to keep up with the Packers. As I'm going to take Green Bay on the road in this one by the score of 24-17. Now, sticking with another one of those teams in the NFC North, you have the 8-1 Detroit Lions, who are set to host the 2-8 Jacksonville Jaguars. There are some people that feel that the Lions are not only the best team in the NFC, they might be the best team in the National Football League. I'll tell you one thing, they were able to survive a bad game from quarterback Jared Goff last Sunday night in their comeback win over the Texans. We saw Goff throw five interceptions, which is unlike him. And I think the Lions are going to try to get back on track in each phase of the game. Detroit comes into this game favored by 2 touchdowns at home over Jacksonville. And if you're the Jaguars, what can you say? It's just another bad season from another bad football team. Looks like it's not going to be Trevor Lawrence at quarterback this Sunday for Jacksonville, as that duty falls to a former first round pick of the New England Patriots in one Mac Jones. Doesn't matter if it's Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, or Mark Brunell for that matter. The Jacksonville Jaguars are simply not in the same league with the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to take the Lions to double up on the Jags at home by the score of 34-17. Now you got the 7-2 Minnesota Vikings traveling to Nashville to take on the 2-7 Tennessee Titans. And for the Vikings recently, they've been leaning on their defense. And I think they're going to have to do that again here because, yes, the Titans are 2-7, but this team under head coach Brian Callahan will compete. Now, of course, we saw Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold not have the best game last Sunday. I think Minnesota needs to try to find a way to get back to running the football. I talked about this Vikings defense, which is led by defensive coordinator Brian Flores, and I think he's got something cooked up very special to make life tough for Titans quarterback Will Levis Sunday afternoon. Minnesota is favored by 6 points on the road. The over under is 39.5, and I'm sticking with that as I'm going to take Minnesota by the score of 23-17. Now you got the 3-6 Miami Dolphins, fresh off of their win on Monday night over the Rams, set to host the 2-7 Las Vegas Raiders. The Dolphins come into this contest favored by a touchdown at home, and you just have to wonder, after Miami got their win on Monday night, are they ready to hang around and make a playoff push? We got to wait and see. On the flip side for the Raiders, they're coming off of their bye, but this offense has been stagnant at best this season for first-year head coach Antonio Pierce. The Dolphins come in favored by a touchdown at home. I think they take care of their businesses. I'm going to take Miami by the score of 24 to 13. Now in Foxborough, you've got the 3-7 New England Patriots hosting the 4-5 Los Angeles Rams. And of course, it's a short week for the Rams. They lost at home on Monday night to the Dolphins, and now they got to go from the West Coast to the East Coast for an early start on Sunday afternoon. One thing we've seen about this Patriots team, they're game, they're competitive, and they will go through a wall for rookie head coach Gerard Mayo. I look at the Rams, they should be able to get back on track in this one, but New England is not going to make it easy. I'm still going to take Los Angeles by the score of 22-17. Now at the Superdome, you've got the 3-7 New Orleans Saints hosting the 2-7 Cleveland Browns. Cleveland comes into this contest favored by a point over the Saints, and the Saints defense is looking to make life tough for their former teammate from a year ago in quarterback Jameis Winston. We saw the Saints answer the call last week following the firing of head coach Dennis Allen, and I think New Orleans is going to be up for that challenge once again, as I'm going to take the Saints in this one by the score of 24-20. Now at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, you've got the 3-7 New York Jets set to host the 4-6 Indianapolis Colts. And for the Jets, they looked as bad as a team could look last Sunday as they were embarrassed at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. Even with all of that said, the Jets still come into this contest favored by 4 points at home. They're facing a Colts quarterback in Anthony Richardson, a young man who's still trying to figure it out, still trying to get it going. And I'm looking at the Jets defense. They've got to be able to answer that call. And the reason why I say this, you've got a young quarterback who's still not getting it going. And you have to go out there and tee off on him, and you have to go out there and make life uncomfortable. On the flip side for this Jets offense, Aaron Rodgers. I'm looking at it, and honestly, some people might disagree with this, but he looks like a quarterback who is getting near the end of the line. And in some cases, some people might say he's finished. I think this game is going to come down to which quarterback screws up less. Is it going to be Anthony Richardson, or is it going to be Aaron Rodgers? I'm going with the veteran, and I'm going to take the Jets at home by the score of 24-19. Now, it's the NFL's version of the Hatfields and the McCoys, and I'm talking about the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over the years, whenever the Ravens and Steelers get together on the gridiron, it is a physical black and blue affair. And it wouldn't be the Ravens and Steelers if we're not talking about these teams meeting here in mid-November with first place in the AFC North on the line. You look at this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and will they be able to slow down that power rushing attack of the Ravens with Lamar Jackson and, of course, Derrick Henry? And then on the flip side for this Ravens defense, they've had their issues in the secondary this season, and they can be picked apart. You look at this Steelers offense with quarterback Russell Wilson, they look a lot better than they did with Justin Fields. And as the weeks progress, Russell Wilson is gaining confidence, and so too is the offense around him. I think this has the makings to be one of the better games, if not the best game of the weekend. Baltimore is favored by 3 points in Pittsburgh, but I'm going to take the Steelers to take care of their business at home by the score of 24-23. Now in Denver, you've got the 5-5 Broncos set to host the 6-4 Atlanta Falcons. And for Denver, they had a heartbreaking loss. They were up 14-3 on the road in Arrowhead last week. They lost 16-14, and they had a chance to win before the game-winning field goal was blocked as time expired. On the flip side for the Atlanta Falcons, can they find a way to go out there and knock off the Broncos on the road? I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. I think it's going to come down to field position, turnovers, and of course, special teams. The Broncos have a lot of grit under head coach Sean Payton, and I think they show that grit on Sunday with a 20-19 win. Now, in the NFC West, you've got the 5-4 San Francisco 49ers hosting the 4-5 Seattle Seahawks. And sometimes at some point, you would expect the 49ers, even with the injuries, to be able to turn the corner and get it going. They've got Christian McCaffrey back, huge boost for their offense. Will this Niners defense be able to tee off on Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith? That we've got to wait and see. Typically, when the Niners and Seahawks get together, it's a very physical and a very competitive game. San Francisco comes in favored by 6.5 points at home in this one, and I'm going to take the Niners with the under in this one by 3, 27-24. Now, this side of Steelers Ravens, the real big one that a lot of people are focusing on, you've got the 9-0 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Orchard Park to take on the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. And for the Chiefs, they return to the scene of the crime because we know what happened in the divisional round last January. It was another nail biter between the Bills and the Chiefs. And of course, if you're a Bills fan, you simply have had enough of the term wide right. And of course, that was once again the case in the divisional playoffs. But you look at this Bills team right now, and it's Josh Allen's team, and they are playing some darn good football. Josh Allen's going to have to play the best game of the season. And the reason why I say that, he only has 4 interceptions on the season. All four of those interceptions have come in the last 3 games. No Dalton Kincaid at tight end in this contest for him. But the Bills look like they're going to get wide receiver Amari Cooper back. Of course, we know no Harrison Butker at kicker for Kansas City, and that's going to be important because the right leg of Butker has gotten the Chiefs out of a lot of sticky situations because they have struggled in the red zone. Isaiah Pacheco at running back is getting closer to coming back, and that's going to be a lot of depth for this Chiefs team. But typically, over the years, when we've seen Bills Chiefs get together, whether it's the postseason or whether it's the regular season, they usually very tightly contested games, and it's typically a play here or a play there that makes the difference. Will Buffalo be able to make enough plays against Kansas City at home? The Bills are favored by 2. The over under is 46.5, but I'm going to go with Kansas City on the road by the score of 22-20. Now on Sunday night, you've got the 4-6 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Inglewood to take on the 6-3 Los Angeles Chargers. And for the Bengals, they just keep finding ways to lose. I know your record says who you are, but Cincinnati is much more talented than their 4-6 mark. And of course, for the Bengals, you think about them being at SoFi, you think about the heartbreak a couple of years ago, if you will, in their Super Bowl loss to the Rams. In year one, under head coach Jim Harbaugh, things look like they are coming together for the Chargers. This team is playing a physical brand of football, which is one of Harbaugh's specialties. Also, they're running the football better, and Justin Herbert looks better at quarterback as well. I think this game just comes down, it's going to come down to a couple of things: execution and which team, when they get into the red zone, is going to score touchdowns as opposed to having to settle for field goals. The Lightning Bolts come in favored by 1.5 points, but I've been going back and forth with this one all week, and I'm going to give the Bengals the slightest of slight edges. I'm going to go with Cincinnati in this one by the score of 23-20. And finally, on Monday Night Football, you've got the 3-6 Dallas Cowboys hosting the 6-4 Houston Texans. And if there was ever a team that needed to get back on track, it's the Houston Texans. The Texans are going to win the AFC North. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a bad division. But Houston's lost their last 2, and they need to get back on track as they want to keep up with the big boys in the AFC. This could be a get-right game for the Texans. They're favored big in this one by a touchdown over the Dallas Cowboys. We just saw Dallas get embarrassed last Sunday at home, courtesy of the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas continues to struggle to run the football, and Dallas also continues to struggle as far as stopping the run defensively. Now, of course, it's the Cooper Rush show at quarterback right now for the Dallas Cowboys, and you have him going up against the Texans defense that looks to get back on track. Texans quarterback CJ Stroud has not played well this year. Is it a sophomore jinx, or is it simply the fact that, teams around the NFL now have a year's worth of game tape on him? I'll tell you like this. This is the opportunity, like I said, this is the potential for a get right game if you are the Houston Texans. The Cowboys are 3-6, and they have yet to win at AT&T Stadium this season. I think that trend continues, as I'm going to take the Texans to roll on this one by the score of 34-20. to 19. So, folks, those are my picks for this week in the world of the National Football League. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Want to take this time to thank all of you once again for checking this out. And if you like or liked what you saw and heard on this podcast, feel free to hit the like button as well as subscribing to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365 that you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.